I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo Pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
It's fair to say that no other TV movie franchise has ever taken the world by storm quite like the Sharknado films. So, it was only a matter of time until the franchise brought the storms to the rest of the world. Cancel your vacation plans because Fin Shepard and crew are trekking the world and bringing their fine gilled friends with them. Time to ride along and see if Sharknado 5 Global Swarming is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades and B movies, and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Hello to all of our listeners in Cloney, Ireland, and around the world. How are you guys doing? We are 1 week away from Shark Week, which means there's one thing to do this week, and that is tackle the 5th installment of the Sharknado franchise, Sharknado 5 Global Swarming. And right now people are saying, whoa. There's 5? No, there's 6, and we're not there yet. We're talking about the second to last Sharknado film, and here to join me, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm doing sharkerific.
You went there.
I did.
You went there.
I've been waiting for that.
All right, so we are continuing our journey, and last week you said that Sharknado 4 was your favorite of the franchise, but now we've gone global. So before we even get started, Sharknado 5, does this live up to the Sharknado 4 precursor, or are we downward trending?
No, you know what? I'm going to stick with my original statement. Sharknado 4, I think, where they travel from Las Vegas to Niagara Falls. I'm guessing Buffalo, New York. That is still my favorite of the Sharknados.
Okay. You realize next week I'm going to have to ask you what your least favorite of the Sharknado is, but that's a next week question because we're not there yet. So I'll give you a week to think about that.
Yeah. Now, does that include, even though we didn't cover the
that would
one and the
include
two?
The first 2 as well. So yeah.
At least I'm prepared. I get to do my homework.
That's right. I'm giving you fair and full warning of what is to come next week. But this week, it's Sharknado 5, our 3rd Sharknado film that we've covered and 5th in the franchise. But before we go down this road, it is time to take Sharknado 5 Global Swarming and trailerize it.
After sharks devastated Los Angeles, New York City, Las Vegas, Washington, Orlando, Charleston, Daytona, Niagara Falls, just the United States. It's destroyed the United States. Fin Shepard is running out of places to visit in America. That leaves the rest of the world to terrorize with a CGI nightmare, and this movie makes up for lost time in a hurry. After Nova and Finn, Indiana Jones their way into a cave to find some kid's discarded third-grade art project made during Shark Week. They'll plop a helmet on their youngest son, making him look like he's gone full shark, then promptly lose him in a Sharknado. Any wonder why no one from their extended family comes over for Thanksgiving? With the help of the Sharknado sisters, they'll battle a Sharkzilla in Japan, find out there was an ancient shark god, find out that the Sharknado is also a time machine, and throw so much unbelievable shark crap at you, you won't question the validity of Chris Kattan's British accent for a second. Ian Ziering kicks off Finn's world tour in Sharknado 5 Global Swarming. Rated TV 14 for Time-nado Vortex.
I was holding that in. I don't know how. I think I bit the inside of my cheeks. That, my love, was the best written trailerize I think I've heard all week.
And all week. Well, we only do one episode a week, so that's not really putting it against much competition. So, unless you're randomly trailerizing things around the house, which could quite often happen.
I wouldn't put it past you.
I can see you now in the kitchen opening the fridge going, looking longingly into the refrigerator, trying to find inspiration for food and finding nothing. You do, don't you? Yeah, you do. All right, let's get into who is in this film. The movie stars Ian Ziering, Tara Reid, Cassie Serbo, Billy Barrett, Cody Lindley, and Maciel Alusha. I should point out that Billy Barrett actually takes over the role of young Gil Shepard, originally played by Christopher and Nicholas Schoen in the previous film. And you can't have a Sharknado without the cameos. And listen to this list. Samantha Fox, Bret Michaels, Olivia Newton-John, Chris Kattan, Nichelle Nichols, Sasha Cohen, not Sacha Baron Cohen, the figure skater Sasha Cohen, Geraldo Rivera, Clay Aiken, Margaret Cho, Fabio, Gilbert Gottfried, John Morrison, the wrestler, not the door singer, Greg Louganis, Dan Fogler, Charo, Dolph Lundgren, and Tony Hawk. Yeah, Tony freaking Hawk.
Summon the Hawk.
Summon the Hawk.
Love it.
The film had a budget of $3 million and, of course, went straight to TV, so there is no box office. However, there is one accolade for this film. At the 2018 Golden Trailer Awards, it was nominated for Trashiest Trailer, but lost to The Little Hours. So, previously, there were some decent enough accolades. This is one where it feels like they're starting to... the shark has been jumped and jumped well, it feels like. But the reason why we are here as we inch ever closer to Shark Week are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 30% and a popcorn meter of 37. Over at IMDb, it sits at 3.9 stars out of 10 for a 39% score. At Letterboxd, it sits at 2 stars out of 5 for a 40% score. At the movie database, it sits at 47%, and this is the only film without a Metacritic score, giving this film an aggregate of 38.6%. So, Carrie, 38.6. Accurate?
It's low. It's, you know what? I so enjoyed this entire franchise, even though 4 is my favorite of the Sharknado movies.
Yet with the lowest tomatometer of the entire franchise.
Of course.
Because critics suck.
But that tends to be the type of movie I gravitate towards.
I mean, it should go without saying because we are almost 200 episodes into the life of this podcast. The reason why we're here is because the critics suck. And we're going to be here for a long, long time because critics have sucked for a long time. And they will continue to suck. And we are here to tell them they are wrong. But let's get into the breakdown of this film. We, of course, as always, start with Ian Ziering as Fin Shepard in this one. Your thoughts on him?
Fantastic. In fact, he is fantastic, if you will.
Wow. I thought I had the bad jokes in this podcast.
No, I'm sharky today. I don't know. I got nothing.
We're going to turn shark into a 4-letter word with this stretch of films. I'm starting to think.
No, it's a good thing.
You know what's funny? I don't think I enjoyed him as much in this one as I did in the previous one.
I love his cockiness, though. Like, there was one line where they were setting him up to go into the cave and, you know, strapping him to like all these safety cables and stuff. And and he's like, there is nothing I haven't done. And I'm like, damn right. Because that is so self-aware. It's like, at this point, that man just cannot plan a family vacation.
No.
He can't go anywhere in the world, apparently.
Although, okay, I'm glad you kind of brought that up because that was a really, really cool Mission Impossible kind of spoof moment. And I do have to point out that anyone who sits there and questions the sanity of us for going down this road has to understand that the writers of this franchise are clearly movie buffs. They're movie fans. There are so many homages and nods and hat tips and just straight parodies of so many different franchises. You got Star Wars, you got Indiana Jones. There are Doctor Who references in this installment even. So, well, I mean, they started in London, so it kind of makes sense, right?
It seemed that this one had money behind it. It had the budget.
If memory serves, I think this is actually the most expensive Sharknado of the entire franchise.
I can see that.
Yeah. But the thing is, this feels like two different films. So
They all do.
no. This one itself feels like two different films because the first half has the charm of the last couple of Sharknado films, the Mission Impossible gag kind of thing. Like that I get. And then they go full Sharkpocalypse. And yeah, I just said Sharkpocalypse. So mark that on your bingo card. This film actually takes a much more serious turn as the movie goes on. So I ask you, because the last one felt like a good out and out pure comedy. This one, did it pull away back, from that?
I think that adds to its charm. If like the first one was mission comedy, this one is more like,
well, I don't
give us
the first Sharknado film was not a comedy. It was very much this is the asylum going to do asylum things kind of thing. And then it just kind of picked up from there. But it almost felt, maybe I'm reading too much into this, like they tried to pull it back to the beginnings and the roots of the franchise.
I kind of felt this is more like the Fast and the Furious where everyone is family. They really drove home that like...
But we barely see some of the family.
They were pulling on heartstrings on this one.
Well, yes, but I think they were also setting up, Nova a lot in this one. I need to point something out before we get too deep into this, because I was I'm watching this and all that, and this came out in 2017. Okay, shortly before the first ever trailer dropped of Avengers: Infinity War. Okay, this film, by the way, spoilers like a mofo. This Sharknado ends on a cliffhanger after the sharks have seemingly won. Infinity War, the following year, ends on a cliffhanger after Thanos seemingly wins. This is, of all the Sharknado films, the Infinity War of the franchise.
Wow. Did you just compare Sharknado
with the Avengers?
With
yes,
the
I did.
MCU.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But tell me I'm wrong.
Respect.
Tell me I'm wrong. Like, even the end scene of this where Finn is, and by the way, we are spoiling the F out of this thing. We are spoiling the shark out of this. Let me tell you. You get to the end, right? And he's walking around with like his remaining things on a stick over his shoulder, like the littlest hobo kind of thing, walking apparently across the road. Also, how the hell did he walk across an ocean? I digress. But
he's Fin Shepard. He can do anything.
Well, if he's walking across the water, then he's freaking Jesus, okay? But he's walking around, And the fact that the entire world is decimated from these Sharknadoes. I'm going to draw another superhero reference, but it's slightly different. If you've ever watched the animated film Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, this is the feeling of the world after the Paradooms come through and obliterate everything and every superhero that they can find. There are so many superhero references, and it's hard to say which came first.
Okay, but because we're here, can we now talk about in the third Sharknado movie?
Yes.
You were talking about how perfectly they nailed David Hasselhoff and Ian Ziering as father and son.
Yes.
Now we meet the son, and it's freaking Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
There is no way
The older son.
in hell that Dolph Lundgren, that the young boy born of a shark,
Born of a shark.
wearing his, shark defending shark helmet, that he grows to be freaking Dolph Lundgren. There is no way. I cannot suspend belief that is the outcome. I don't care how many years have passed. That young boy does not turn into like He-Man.
Okay, but Dolph Lundgren wearing that little shark fin helmet is the cutest thing that I think I've ever seen. Also, how does that helmet still fit his head?
Oh, I'm sure they had to make another one.
I know, but still, we're talking continuity. We're completely going off the rails here. So, Fin Shepard, I think I liked him more in the last one, but I think, as Ian Ziering tends to do, he nails the tonality of what Fin Shepard needs to be based on the script at hand.
I liked him in this one. He's more intense. He's definitely becoming more established in his role of like,
he's the superhero we don't deserve, but he's the superhero we need at this point.
Yeah, but he is almost like immortal when it comes to fighting sharks, like riding on the sharks' backs, and like how does he go up against Sharknadoes every damn film and win? Like
he survives this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if a Chippendale in the fourth one can, repel a shark with the power of his groin.
But only with his shirt off.
Yes. Well, as a Chippendale, that's where his power comes from, right? Superman is in Superman until Clark Kent takes off his glasses. A Chippendale is in Super Chippendale until the shirt comes off.
Okay.
Right? Right now, the Chippendales are like, oh my God, he found us out. He knows our secret.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You're talking about intense acting, though. Cassie Serbo, returning again as Nova. Your thoughts on her?
I liked her a lot more in this one. I found that her role is far more established
Mm-hmm.
in this up family dynamic. Like, I always jokingly called her like
The side piece.
the side piece, the third wheel. And it was very much addressed, and where she felt so much responsibility for letting go of the
Of
young
little Gil,
child,
yeah.
little Gil, who was taken once again by the sharks, or the Sharknado. Oh my gosh, I felt for her dedication to Finn's family,
Mm-hmm.
and how she really felt like a part of it, and that they finally accepted her. That scene where Tara Reid says family,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God, I'm not going to cry.
I mean,
Sharknado's not going to make me cry, is it?
I mean, they were definitely kind of leaning into that tension from the first film early on. Because, yeah.
Well, you know what? It was, and we'll get to this later, but there should have been far more emotional intensity in that moment where, Tara Reid or April is like, you're always defending her.
Yeah.
I mean, she just lost her son. Like, and it wasn't necessarily her fault.
No.
It wasn't Nova's fault. I mean, you're up against a Sharknado.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's that one scene where they're at like the Sharknado sister headquarters in Australia, and she gives like, I recognize I'm talking about a Sharknado film, but bear with me here. She gives like almost an Oscar level worthy performance in that confrontation between her and Finn. Like, the tears are starting to roll down, and you're like, holy crap, Cassie Serbo.
Yeah, you feel a lot more for her and her, I mean, we know her backstory from the first movie where, she explains and she sets it out that she hates sharks and wants to kill them all because they took her grandfather.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but this now becomes far more personal, that the family that has brought her in is also seemingly this Sharknado magnet, the Sharknado magnet. So, it becomes very personal for her. And you see that she's done all of this work to create this sisterhood of, I don't know, shark scientists?
Yeah.
Shark
the shark sisterhood, the Sharknado sisterhood.
That's their final.
Yeah, that's
their
what they're
formal
called. Yeah.
title, right? Wow.
But I also find too that this, I mean, I think it's fair to say, because I mean, you called it out in the third Sharknado. She's dressed very attractively in that film, and in the first one, she's dressed very attractively, right? This one, it's very toned down, but it's still badass, but it's like more like warrior badass.
Again, I liked her the most in this movie of all of them.
Tara Reid, once again returning, is April Wexler. Your thoughts on her?
Freaking loved her and her 80s rocker Barbie look. Oh my God.
Okay, I need to point this out. We have talked about in the past on previous episodes one of my, and I can't even say guilty pleasure because there are no guilty pleasures, but I freaking love this film, Josie and the Pussycats, of which Tara Reid is the drummer. Does her makeover not look like she's trying out for Josie and the Pussycats 2020 or something like that?
Maybe, I don't know, 1982, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, but
I loved it.
I
don't know why.
I think they painted her in a corner, though. Bear with me. You have built up April to be now this half woman, half cyborg kind of being with rocket boots and laser hands and super strength, and she barely does anything. Like, Finn's riding sharks up to the Queen's palace.
She wrote a book.
in the second one, even though Finn did all the work in the first one. But I think it's one of those things where the more you have April do, the more your budget has to go up because of that. So it's almost like they kind of nerfed her in this a little bit. They have her sitting on the side doing so many things. And I mean, but there's other times too where like she'll be sitting there and trying to hold on to something, you know, with her super strength and going, and I'm like, oh dear God, shut up. Just shut up. Because it was a little annoying after a while. You overpowered her and then you nerfed her. And anyone who's ever played a video game and has had that character where it's like it's so OP and then they nerf it, so not everyone ruins the game for everybody else. April is that OP kind of character. Our boys would be so proud of me using that terminology.
Wow.
And I totally geeked out right there.
I think you need to give her more credit in this movie.
But I liked her more in the last one because it felt like I loved the parts where she was trying to connect with little Gil. They added that layer with April, and I liked her at the beginning of the film too, right? You know, staying with Gil at at Buckingham Palace or whatever, or wherever they were in England with the British Prime Minister. I liked those scenes, and then it just became not good. So I half liked April in this. I thought she was better in previous films.
Okay, you've got to love, though, like her facial expressions when they're operating on her.
Do I, though?
And well, when you think about it, right, this is incredible trust, and you're being put in the hands of, quote unquote, the side piece.
Okay, but at this course, after they carry her broken ass body around in a backpack like she's C-3PO in The Empire Strikes Back.
I love that.
and again, this is literally the writers of this franchise tipping their, like, I swear to God, Thunder Levin, the writer of the Sharknado franchise, wishes he wrote a Star Wars film. I'm guarantee you that's kind of where it comes from.
But don't you feel like they made her more human in this one?
Well, I feel like Olivia Newton-John made her more human in this, but I think it's one of those things where it's almost like, the way she comes out looking, it's almost like, well, okay, we'll explain to an alien who lands on Earth in the 80s what a human is supposed to look like and then translate that into 2017.
That's what we get for putting AI in charge of everything.
If AI studied the 80s, then made a cyborg Tara Reid, this is what it would look like.
My God, if they worked in a salon, we would all be rocking the, like, oh my God, the crimp hair would come back.
Okay, but she was looking like Timu Avril Lavigne.
But it wasn't just the hair. It was the costume, too. The wardrobe had that, like, pink, fluffy jacket and, oh.
Should have just called her April Lavigne at that point.
Yeah, like the high top boots and, oh, wow.
Of course, Avril being French for April. There we go. It all makes sense now. Bill Barrett, taking over the role of Little Gil. Your thoughts on him?
Fantastic. I mean, for what we saw of him.
Yeah, it's here for a good time, not for a long time kind of thing. And I mean, I understand that you need to advance the character a little bit. I thought for what they used him in, he was perfectly fine.
I loved his helmet. And then the look on Nova's face, she's like, whoa, respect.
Well, the fact that he headbutted a shark to submission in the middle of a Sharknado. Also, child, that's gonna be real bad on your neck. You're gonna need traction after that one. You're gonna need to go see a chiropractor after you headbutt a shark in a tornado. A few smaller roles here, but they are returning characters. Cody Lindley returning as Matt Shepard. Now, they kind of put him back at the ranch, helping rebuild the barn and the home that was destroyed in the last Sharknado film. I do love what he did with the character. I like how he took it over. It is very similar to the original actor from the first one, but your thoughts on him being kind of out of the situation, but yet still also a part of it.
He was kind of an anchor, and I like that it kept bringing it back to the family farm.
Yeah.
But what was with Grandpa?
Who? Let me tell you.
Where did he come from? At first, I'm like, who the f*** is this guy? Until he's talking about how hot his grandma is, and, well, yeah, okay, I get it. What a strange family dynamic.
The shepherds do 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 do. But I find it interesting, right? Because and I'm going to draw this Infinity War comparison again, right? You had Captain America and his team fighting off all the hounds or whatever in Wakanda. You had Iron Man and his team fighting with Thanos on Titan. You had all these different set pieces that were happening at the same time. And they did the same thing with Return of the Jedi, right? You had the starship battle was happening outside of the Death Star. You had Luke fighting Vader in front of the Emperor in the Death Star, and then you had everything happening down on Endor. Here, you had these three little setups, right? You had whatever Finn and April were doing, and then you had Matt back at home trying to rebuild the ranch, and then having another tornado hit him. And then, of course, you had Gemini on a boat because she's on a boat. But I like the fact that they kind of took the family out of the scenario. And Matt was very helpless without everyone else to help him out. It added to the drama of what was happening. I just mentioned her name, Maciela Lucia, who plays Gemini, returning from the fourth Sharknado, but now she's on a boat. Your thoughts?
You know what? I really like her. She's super smart. I think I enjoyed her more because there was more to enjoy of her character in the fourth.
Mm-hmm. Very much so, yeah.
But again, where Max was an anchor, she's an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
She's always kind of the off-site brains on this one.
Yeah. But I think she's also a revelation for Finn, right? Because up to this point, Finn has been fighting the Sharknadoes kind of head on, right? This has now become a global threat. It's getting worse. The Sharknadoes are getting stronger and arguably smarter. The fact that she's kind of off the coast of Japan, tracking this nuke wave shark, whatever kind of thing that turns into a Sharkzilla in the middle of Japan. So it's almost like that third party representation of this is happening over here and this is happening over here. And very, very much like Return of the Jedi, right? You had the starship battle that was happening outside the Death Star at the end, while you had Luke and Darth Vader fighting in front of the Emperor on the Death Star, while you had Han and Leia and the droids down on Endor trying to bring down the shields. And I just geeked out there, and I'm very proud of it. Star Wars, here we go. But the fact that her working with the Sharknado Sisterhood shows that Finn isn't, I don't want to say if he's not as important as he feels, right? But he's so disconnected with the world taking over. And this is what Nova has been doing. She's been building up this team that's been going after the sharks. Meanwhile, Finn's been doing it at a very mano-a-mano, one-on-one kind of vibe. And I don't think Finn really understood the gravity of the situation.
I think, though, that you could also look at it like almost like a humbling experience that this sisterhood against the sharks, the Sharknadoes, has been built up.
Mm-hmm.
He's not fighting his battle alone, even though he may feel like it and it may feel like a personal attack because this poor man cannot go on a family vacation anywhere in the world.
Nope.
But it gives it that family element of this is, he's not in it alone and that this is bigger than him.
Yeah. And I think that's got to be a scary proposition, right? It shows how little he knows of the full situation. Because previously, he had a decent grasp on kind of what was going on. He fumbled his way through the first one through, completely by luck. The second one, he knew what he was doing. Third one, he definitely knew what he was doing because apparently he can fly a plane too. Fourth one, ton of fun kind of thing. But now it's become this dire situation. And there's something to be said about when a character runs into a point where they realize they're kind of in over their heads. And this is the moment that Finn realizes that Nova is the Hermione and knows exactly what to do. Meanwhile, Harry should have, paid more attention in spells class.
Well, this one got more it got far bigger. It got biblical.
And darker, yeah.
Like, you've got, I don't know, Fabio as the Pope supporting your efforts and providing you with like the most kick-ass chainsaw. And then you've got the realization of the shark god that it becomes way bigger. And I think a lot of questions answered, questions we didn't even know we asked, but needed to know.
I should never have had to ask, but yet here we are. But that's the thing. In the previous films, there wasn't a problem that Finn couldn't solve with a chainsaw. And here he's been given clearly the holy chainsaw of all holy chainsaws, and it's not enough. And Gemini's involvement with the Sharkhoods, the Sharknado sisterhood really amplifies that. And I think Gemini and Matt being so out of the fight, yet still in the fight, and there's nothing Finn can do to save them, just adds to the plight and the build-up for the end. Couple of the smaller roles that came into this film, but from names you definitely know. First of all, Chris Kattan has the British Prime Minister. Your thoughts?
I'm only disappointed that he didn't revisit his night at the Roxbury, like, side head bob dance at some point.
Yeah, no, just
Although,
no.
How freaking fantastic when he came into the, what was it, like, the head of London
Like the
meeting.
NATO. It was
the NATO meeting. And he's like, it's back. They're back. Like, he was, oh, he's so good.
It felt like an SNL performance of what the British Prime Minister should be, and I think they got the right guy for it. Even though you sit there and listen to the the accent and go, "Oh, Chris," but I don't hold it against him because again, it's a Sharknado film, right? It's supposed to be over the top. I mean, sure, maybe you could have hired a British actor, sure, whatever. Did you notice though that, and this is me dropping these references here, that the code that he put in to the machine or whatever it was 00D. And of course they're in London, which may as well just spell ood. The ood.
Oh my God, you are such a geek.
I am a geek.
You picked up on that.
Yeah. Doctor Who, of course I'm going to pick up on that.
I thought that would be like 007.
No, the ood.
Is D not the seventh? No, it's not.
No, it's not. The ood. And finally, heading over to Australia, Olivia Newton-John playing Orion. I mean, first of all, it's freaking Olivia Newton-John. What are your thoughts?
So great.
I mean, yes, you have an Australian native playing an Australian, so it's all good. And I'm surprised they didn't make really any Grease references. They had her, making a physical reference, which was kind of good. I don't know what the heck was going on with the headband that she was wearing. Whatever that was, it made her look semi-cyborg-esque, but whatever. This is one of those, this is that holy crap, it's them moment. This is Olivia Newton-John. Holy crap, it's Olivia Newton-John in here. That's awesome. But I like the fact that they kind of expanded the cameo list to people from different countries because it is a very global installment into the franchise. It's a Sharknado film, which means there's going to be cameos aplenty. So I'm going to let you go through some of your favorites.
I found this one was lacking. There wasn't as much, aside from Chris Kattan.
Right.
I didn't have as many like aha moments, right? Maybe Fabio.
Fabio was freaking awesome.
I'm still trying to place who was the guy in the bar that was knowing and leading them out into
when they landed in like Brazil or wherever it was?
Yeah, I think so.
So that is former WWE wrestler John Morrison.
Okay, because he looked familiar. I'm like, who? Like, he looks familiar, but I don't know.
Every single Sharknado has had some kind of wrestler make an appearance. So this is John Morrison's time. And John Morrison has done films. I'm not going to say good films, but he's done films as well. So yeah.
And who was following them? What was with that guy that was like...
I'm not quite sure. It was basically like an art collector or something like that, and then got the fin of destiny or whatever it was.
Oh my God.
Right? But yeah, no, I mean, Fabio is freaking awesome in this.
Yeah.
Like, I think of every cameo in here, I think Fabio kind of ranks right up there. There were a few where I had to like, because I would go through the list while I'm watching. I'm like, wait, where were they in? Like Samantha Fox.
Yeah, I was wondering that in your intro. I'm like, who did she play?
Okay, so you remember how there's the scene where Tara Reid and Little Gil are going to like the 007-esque weapons display that they were going through. This is where Gil gets the helmet with the shark fin. So the scientist, the one showing them all that stuff, is former American Idol runner-up Clay Aiken, who actually came runner-up in the second season of American Idol. He was the scientist. Samantha Fox was his assistant.
Oh, okay, yeah. Also forgot to mention, tell me, it was the woman from Deadpool who was his roommate, who played the head of the UN?
No.
Was it not?
No.
Was that not?
No, that's not Blind Al. That's Uhura from Star Trek.
Oh!
So the fact that she's literally saying, you just confused Nichelle Nichols with the woman who played Blind Al.
Oh.
But yeah, no, that's why it was such a big thing where she's talking to Finn and going, you have gone where people haven't never boldly gone before. And I'm like, oh, Nichelle Nichols, you're a gem.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I knew I recognized her.
But I mean, you got Bret Michaels on a bus, literally on the front of the bus, in the oddest cameo. There are two cameos where I'm like, what the hell are they doing there? That Bret Michaels is one of them. And then there's the one where the Nuke NATO kind of goes over the little island. That's Margaret Cho playing catch with her bow on the island before the island gets swarmed with sharks. Tony Hawk is freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You don't hassle the hawk.
Well, plus also the fact that they got hawk, hawk, hawk. Like the music composers for this are having way too much fun. Geraldo Rivera basically making fun of himself with the vault is empty kind of thing in the most steampunk performance that Geraldo Rivera could ever Geraldo Rivera. I actually liked that for him. But yes, Fabio is the greatest. And also Dan Fogler from Balls of Fury and of course Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was being interviewed on one of the shows as they're flipping through the channels. But after all is said and done, now I'm going to ask you so far here, of the 5 Sharknadoes that you have watched thus far, where does this one fit in? Is it in the upper 3 or is it in the bottom 3?
Ooh.
Obviously, we still have one more to watch, but...
Oh, that's such a tough question. I think it's in the upper 3, but not my favorite.
I can see that.
It
I think this one sits kind of dead center for me in the franchise. Obviously, we'll probably rank them once we get to Shark Week next week, because then we can kind of take a look at the whole franchise.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
I get that. But we've come to the end of this journey, knowing that we end on a cliffhanger. So, Carrie, who is your MVP of Sharknado 5 Global Swarming?
Is it bad that I started this record with what I thought, but my mind was set and I was going to give a nod to one actress, and then my opinion was swayed. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with Nova on this one.
Okay.
Because you are absolutely right. And when you're right, you're right. And you have swayed my opinion unknowingly. The emotion that she brought to the table, and, she was much more than just the hot chick.
Yeah.
That it was always kind of awkward, you know. Why is Finn always defending her and, you know, running out at her call?
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when this movie was like, get Fin Shepard, it was like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
Right? But it was so much more than that.
Yeah. This whole movie was basically Nova's redemption arc.
Yeah. So I've got to give absolute props to Nova.
I do not disagree with you at all. Cassie Serbo is my MVP, and there wasn't even a question. It was sold on that one scene in Australia where her and Finn are having that argument, and just like, and I find it interesting, right? Because I don't know how they filmed. I don't know if they did a multi-camera shoot while they were filming just to kind of save time and money kind of thing. But she gets through that monologue, and there's a pause, and Finn's just looking at her, and she's just looking at him, and she's like kind of wiping the tear. Like, and I'm like, holy crap. Sharknado has a gut punch moment in the 5th installment of this franchise. The most powerful acting moment of the entire franchise to this point.
Not just that. And you are not giving enough attention to when April and Finn are arguing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's April's moment of like, why are you always defending her? But you see that she turns to the camera and she has this tear just streaming. She feels so much guilt for letting go of Max.
Because, I mean, Nova's love for Finn and the Shepard clan as well, right? It's not a romantic love. It's a true friendship bond love, even if April sometimes questions
you
the
got to
intentions.
admit though how it started, and I know we're not covering the first movie.
How it started, and you definitely play on that. You absolutely work in that but the thing is the dynamic between Finn and April was different in the first film than it is in the 5th. So I get it, but yeah, no. You're going to have that, and they kind of lean into a little bit more, but you gave Nova literally like she's the star of this film. I recognize Ian Ziering is the star of the franchise. She is the absolute star of this film, and I hope that people give her feathers for this one or her flowers for this one, because holy crap, did she ever fly?
You mean the feathers from April's jacket?
Yeah, I'm starting to think, or the feathering that was done to her hair. I don't know, because.
True.
Whoo.
Oh my God, she went from like super straightened hair to like crazy, I don't know, it was like teased out hair.
Yeah, this is the worst undercover job of any cop ever, really, because hello, my fellow students.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All right, Carrie, thank you so much for this. And dear listeners, we got one Sharknado left, and next week is actually Shark Week, so we're going to celebrate in Sharknado style. But until that time, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in a global swarm that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com and make sure you subscribe to the page so you get notified every time a new episode drops. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.